You've landed here, perhaps drawn by a quiet ache that's trailed you for years. A heaviness you can't quite pin down, but feel deep in your core. You might describe yourself as sensitive, an empath, someone who carries emotions intensely. You see this as a strength, a gift that makes you kind, essential, compassionate, yet beneath that warmth lies a subtle unease, a hidden restlessness you rarely voice, a weariness in your spirit that no rest seems to mend. This is where we start, not with your generosity, but with your depletion, because behind the glow you cast, there's a shadow agreement, one you didn't choose with your mind, but absorbed through your very being. It whispers, I'll bear their pain so they don't have to. This unspoken pact, invisible yet powerful, has shaped your life like an unseen force. Carl Jung once said, what we don't bring into awareness becomes our fate. For the empath, bound by unconscious promises, life repeats a cycle, drawing in the hurting, soaking up their sorrow, losing themselves time and time again. They don't realize they're replaying a trauma bond. They only know they feel responsible, needed, and profoundly alone. You can't save others and hold on to yourself simultaneously. But no one taught you that, did they? You thought being the one who always understands made you special, chosen. But what if it just made you more convenient, more broken? Reflect for a moment, when did this begin? When did you first feel it was your duty to carry another's grief? Was it in a home where one parent cried in secret while the other was absent? Was it in the quiet after your anger was dismissed, your happiness deemed too much, your needs too heavy? That's where this pact was forged, in the moments when your emotions became a risk, so you turned inward. You became the observer, learning. 2 sense shifts in the air before they erupted. You smiled to calm, you stayed steady to keep others from breaking, and you called that love. But it wasn't love, it was survival. Your empathy became your way to connect, your offering to the world. You gave and gave, hoping someone would finally see you. But instead, you faded from view. No one told you that the empath's gift is born in struggle, shaped by pain, by the longing to be held that was never met. So you became the one who holds the safe harbor for everyone but yourself. You thought this made you resilient, but there's nothing sacred about carrying others' wounds while yours fester in silence. That's not divine, it's abandonment, cloaked as virtue. Jung understood this pattern. The empath takes on the rejected parts of others because they haven't faced their own. The shadow, ignored, doesn't vanish, it draws you in. It binds you. You say, I just want to help, but beneath that is a deeper need. To be needed, to avoid disappearing. Each time you ease another's load, you feel worthy. Each time you dissolve into their needs, you feel noble. But nobility without awareness is just sacrifice dressed up as purpose. When was the last time someone truly saw your pain without you having to break open for them first? When did someone hold you? Not because you fell apart, but because you stood whole. The empath's tragedy isn't feeling too much, it's not knowing what to do with those feelings. You're flooded, overwhelmed, and instead of boundaries, you're given praise for vanishing, for enduring, for suffering gracefully. But the soul doesn't flourish in performance. It withers. It aches behind eyes that smile too brightly. It cries in dreams you can't recall. Yet you keep shining, even as the darkness within grows sharp. You think this is love to give, to stay, to show up no matter how drained you are. But love isn't sacrifice. Love is presence, honesty, truth. It doesn't demand you erase yourself. The true shadow of the empath isn't cruelty, it's buried rage, stifled longing, the self you suppressed, the part that wanted to shout, "What about me?" but swallowed it instead. The part that wanted to walk away but stayed to be good. The part that wanted to choose itself but didn't know how. This is the root of your exhaustion, the source of the illness you can't explain. The sadness that lingers, the anxiety that hums in quiet moments. It's not your fault, but it's yours to address now. The longer you uphold this pact, the more your body will protest through pain, burnout, resentment. That resentment is a sacred signal, whispering that you've betrayed yourself again. Jung would say, this is the self calling you to wake up. It doesn't want you to be good, wants you to be whole. To be whole, you must stop trading your worth for others' wounds, you must face your own. This isn't the path of the healer, it's the path of the initiated. It begins not with giving, but with mourning. Mourning the years you thought you were helping when you were fading. The love you tried to earn but never received. The mask of empathy that hid a scared child who just wanted to be held. Here's the turning point, the mirror, the whisper from your shadow that says, stop, come back to yourself. Maybe for the first time, you listen. You stop trying to fix, to please, to carry. You sit, you let the ache surface. It rises the pain of losing yourself, of loving too much, of not knowing who you are without others' chaos to orbit. In that stillness, something cracks open, not your spirit, but the spell, the old trance that said you must earn your place. By absorbing pain, that you must shrink to be safe, that you must heal others to be loved. No more. You see now, that wasn't love, it was codependency dressed as care. Abandonment turned inward. Your soul is calling for a new agreement. One, rooted in truth, not trauma. One that says, I won't carry what isn't mine. I won't trade my light for belonging. I won't bleed to be seen. True empathy begins with compassion for yourself. True light doesn't blind, it reveals. True love doesn't ask you to vanish, it asks you to rise. So rise, empath, not to serve others, but to remember yourself. Rise with the anger you buried, the tears you hid, the joy you dimmed. Rise not to fix, but to be. Let others face their own shadows for once. You have your own work to do, the work of becoming. There comes a moment when the empath can no longer pretend, when even the praise becomes unbearable, when the masks of calm, of light, of endless support begin to chafe with unspoken truth. This is the breaking point, often disguised as despair, burnout, or the collapse of a relationship where you gave everything and still fell short. This isn't failure, it's your psyche stepping in. Jung called it the night sea journey, a plunge into the unconscious where the ego's walls crumble and the shadow rises, not to harm you, but to renew you. The shadow isn't evil, it's everything you set aside to survive. Your anger, your desires, your boundaries, your joy. All of it waits in the depths of your being, watching, wondering when you'll return. Now you're being called, not to save others, but to meet the forgotten youth, the you beyond performance. Beyond being the one who always shows up, the you tired of being good and ready to be real. What would happen if you stopped apologizing for your intensity? If you spoke unfiltered, rested without guilt, said no without justifying it? Would the world collapse, or would your true life begin? Most empaths don't know how to exist without dissolving into others' needs. They call this devotion, but it's often trauma in disguise, a compulsion to merge, to fix, to feel what isn't theirs. Jung would call this an overextension of the self, an unsustainable role that burns you out. You wonder why no one holds you when you falter, why no one sees you when you break. It's because you've taught the world you don't break. That's the cruel paradox of the pact. You become so skilled at absorbing others' pain that you vanish from their view, a background hum to their suffering, never the center of your own story. Your silence deepens. You cry in private, feel too much, say too little. You crave closeness but fear it, because true closeness means being seen not as useful, but as raw, angry, wanting, flawed, whole. Wholeness terrifies the part of you that only knows how to earn love through fragments. So you return to the pact, you give again, you hold again, and the exhaustion grows louder, physical, spiritual, existential. Your body becomes the stage for your denial. Migraines, stomach issues, fatigue, panic. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Your body is shouting what your voice cannot. You are not a vessel for others' pain. You are a soul, so ask yourself, who are you without your usefulness? Without being the fixer, the listener, the emotionally wise one, who are you when you're not soothing the room's chaos? Most empaths don't know, because their identity is built on others' needs. That's not freedom, it's captivity. The way out is through unlearning. Name your needs, not as a burden, but as a right. Claim your anger, not as a danger, but as a boundary. Rest, not as a privilege, but as a duty. It will feel selfish. Old voices will whisper shame. How dare you? You're abandoning them. Let them whisper. Their noise isn't your truth. It's the echo of a past that taught you sacrifice is love. But Jung would ask, is it love if it demands your erasure? Is it healing if you're the only one bleeding? These questions pull you from the haze, breaking the trance, bringing you back to yourself. Slowly, you begin to see not just the world, but you, your face without the mask, your body without the weight, your desires without shame. In this clarity, something ancient awakens, not the wounded child, but the sovereign self, the one who existed before the pact. This self doesn't seek approval for vanishing. It seeks truth, embodiment, freedom. The rules change. Relationships shift. Some people leave, some call you selfish, cold. Let them. Their confusion isn't your burden. You're not here to be palatable, you're here to be whole. You start saying things like, I feel your pain, but I can't carry it. I care for you, but I need rest. I love you, but not at my expense. These words shake your core. You may tremble, doubt, cry, but beneath that is truth. I am allowed to have limits. I am allowed to be complex. I am allowed to exist. This isn't arrogance, it's restoration, a reclaiming of a soul long exiled by the myth of goodness. What is empathy? Truly, is it dissolving boundaries for the sake of care? Is it endlessly absorbing pain without transforming it? Or is it feeling deeply while staying sovereign? Jung would say the latter, because empathy without limits isn't compassion, it's consumption, codependency, martyrdom, in disguise. True empathy sees without absorbing, holds without merging, witnesses without drowning. That empathy emerges only when you've faced your shadow, retrieved your inner child, and taught your nervous system safety that doesn't depend on self-erasure. That's the path forward, not more giving, but healing the one who's been hiding behind the healer's role. Your suffering may not be yours alone. Jung taught that the unconscious is collective, and the patterns you live out may echo ancestral wounds, unhealed and unseen. The empath's pact isn't just personal, it's a legacy. Your nervous system might carry the weight of generations, who survived by silencing their feelings, who learned that to express was unsafe. Perhaps your grandmother gave everything while her soul hungered. Perhaps your father buried his tenderness under work, his pain under strength. Your lineage may speak a language of service without self, of giving without rest. You, sensitive and awake, are the one chosen to feel what they couldn't, to voice what they buried. You think your exhaustion is yours, it's not. It's the cry of ancestors breaking through you. You weren't born to carry their pain forward, but to transform it. You can't do that by vanishing. You do it by remembering who you are beneath the inherited weight. Your light isn't here to erase the ancestral shadow, it's here to illuminate it. Take a breath. Feel your lineage behind you, not to follow, but to witness. Let them see. You choose differently. You are allowed to stop the cycle, to rest, to cry, to say no more. You are allowed to set down the cup of unspoken grief they passed you and return it to the earth. Name it, mourn it, but don't continue it. Many empaths hold on to suffering because it feels like home, because pain feels like virtue. But there's nothing noble about a lineage of people who bled for everyone but themselves. The new pact begins here. I honor your pain, but I don't carry it. I grieve your silence, but I don't inherit it. I see your wounds, but I choose truth. Truth for the empath is terrifying. It means saying, I am not your savior, your sponge, your fixer. I am me, and I'm done earning love through disappearance. From that truth, a new empathy emerges. That's slow, rooted, unafraid to pause and ask, is this mine to hold? If it's not, you release it without guilt, without shame, because shame was never yours. It was planted, a tool of control, disguised as virtue. Be good, be quiet, be helpful, but never be whole. Wholeness is messy, loud, inconvenient. It disrupts the old stories, but it births freedom, the freedom to rest, to feel, to speak, to say yes to joy and no to depletion. That's the revolution. Not brighter light, but deeper roots. Not more service, but more sovereignty. As you embody this, the world shifts. Relationships built on imbalance falter. People grow uneasy, accuse you of changing. You've stopped feeding their brokenness, stopped trading your essence for belonging. It's lonely at first. Silence follows, filled with doubt, fear, grief, but also possibility. In that silence, your true voice emerges, raw and untamed. It says, I am here. I exist. I matter. This voice isn't polished, it shakes, it stumbles, but it's yours. It guides you away from roles, toward presence. You stop chasing approval, stop earning love. You embody truth. Your presence becomes a beacon, not for the broken, but for the brave, those ready to meet themselves. You no longer say, I'll save you. You say, I'll stand with you as you save yourself. That's the true calling, to feel without fusing, to love without losing, to witness without becoming the wound. That's strength, maturity, what Jung meant by making the darkness conscious. You've spent a lifetime chasing light, now face the dark, not as an enemy, but as a guide. Within it lies the part of you that knows how to protect, to rage, to create. That part isn't evil, it's sacred energy, waiting to be reclaimed. When the pact breaks, it hurts, it isolates, it shatters what you thought was real. But what remains is gold, alchemical gold. The kind Jung described, born when the false self burns and the true self rises. When was the last time you let yourself be more than useful, just alive, breathing, feeling, existing? That moment is the beginning of everything, the end of the pact, the birth of you. To live without it is to rediscover feeling, not as a duty, but as a sacred mirror of what's yours. You notice how much of your emotional world was never yours. Your tears, echoes of others' pain, your guilt inherited, your shame planted. As your clarity grows, you discern, this pain isn't mine. This is what Jung meant by individuation, not isolation, but integration of truth. Not every wound belongs in your heart. Not every ache deserves your sanctuary. You are not a vessel for chaos. You are a temple of clarity, a soul who knows the difference between compassion and self-destruction. This knowing doesn't make you cold, it makes you alive. Your sensitivity deepens, no longer tangled in others' projections. It becomes precise, alive. You feel what's true, not just what's loud. You listen without losing yourself. This shift unsettles those who relied on your endless giving. They may call you distant, hard. Let them. They're witnessing your rebirth. Your ego, wired for approval, will beg to return to old patterns. Just help them one more time. But you know one more time becomes a lifetime. One more burden becomes a chain. So you pause, place a hand on your heart, and say, I am not available for unconscious pacts. The dynamic shifts. Some respect it, others resist. But you remain. You don't collapse, don't perform, don't bleed. From this, a new presence emerges, not the caretaker who burns out, but the sovereign empath who has faced their darkness and returned with wisdom. This empath speaks in fire, not martyrdom. They are drawn to truth, not need. Their love is a mirror, not a bomb, and it invites awakening, not dependency. This is the evolution of empathy. Discernment, not sacrifice. Conscious offering, not endless. Yes, true healing happens not because you absorb pain, but because you invite others to face it. This shift shows in small choices: the message you don't rush to answer, the silence you let linger, the tears you don't stop, the desire you no longer hide. Each choice says, "I belong to myself." Your nervous system may resist, trembling as it unlearns compliance. This isn't regression, it's rewiring, unraveling generations of submission. Go slow. Speak gently to the parts of you that flinch. We are safe. We are allowed. Healing is capacity. Presence. ROOTEDNESS. As you root deeper, you stop chasing, fixing, explaining. The right people come, not those who need you to vanish, but those who see your fullness, who honor your no as much as your yes. Your dreams shift. The unconscious, once filled with drowning and bleeding, offers new images: open windows, clear rivers, mirrors showing your face hole. This is integration. In waking life, you feel it, a new steadiness. You no longer collapse at every plea, no longer ache to be needed. You cultivate peace, space, simplicity. You feel home, not because the world is healed, but because you've stopped abandoning yourself. This is what Jung meant by wholeness: not fixing every wound, but choosing which archetypes to embody. You choose the sovereign, the guardian of light and shadow. The old spell will try to return. You'll feel the pull to step into someone's storm, to soothe their sorrow. But this time, you pause. You remember the cost, the body that broke, the life that slipped away while you played savior. Instead, you stay still. You whisper, "I choose me." Healing isn't one awakening. It's 1,000 rebellions against the patterns that said your worth was in disappearing. The wound was never your home, it was a doorway. You were meant to walk through it. This rising doesn't need permission. It's not polite, not soft. It roars, weeps, burns, and says, "I'm not here to be used, I'm here to be." That wholeness is your power, not the fragments or sacrifices. From this, empathy becomes sacred again, not currency, not codependency, but a recognition of humanity. You feel without disappearing, hold space without losing your center, love without abandoning truth. That is mastery, the path of the awakened empath: to illuminate, not dissolve, to radiate, not fix. We return to you, to the question that has always lingered: am I lovable if I stop vanishing? The answer is yes. You are luminous, not because you perform, but because you are. Your light doesn't attract chaos, it creates clarity. Those who can't meet you there, let them go. They're leaving clear space for truth. Your ancestors gather, not to mourn, but to honor you. They say, "You broke the chain." You stand taller, breathe deeper, laugh truer. You feel your soul return, no longer a vessel for pain, but a voice, a force. Let the world adjust to your light. You've signed a new pact, written in truth. I am here, I am whole. I don't trade my essence for love. Your presence becomes a mirror, a spark, a prayer. You no longer follow, you rise, not abandoning yourself, but claiming your legacy, embodiment, love that includes you. Let the tremble in your chest break you open. This is a vow between you and your soul. You didn't find this by chance. The self is reaching for you. Whisper it, write it, live it. I am no longer available for pacts that asked me to disappear. I am the light, and I do not dim. That is how the cycle ends.